We note the outcome of the vote of no confidence. So the exco has decided to graciously step down and wish Aware all the best in all their endeavours. We hope Aware will return to its original roots in accordance with its constitution and continue to contribute to the advancement of women in the political, economic, and social fields, so that we would all one day have about 30 to 35% representation of women at all levels of these fields of activities in accordance with CEDAW. That's all I will say. And there's a president's statement
that's been given out to you.
A speech that was given out. That's it.
Are you going to continue to be active members of Aware?
Where we can contribute, we will.
You're
Because I think.
You're not resigning as member.
Well, I think in Aware you don't resign.
Yeah, you don't resign as members. Either you let your membership lapse. Yeah.
You tend to volunteer.
Sure, where we can contribute, we will.
Any specific details on this?
I mean, we all came in with specific areas that we thought we could contribute. Like for myself, I've made it very public that's in the area of marketing, publicity. So if that's the area that the new exco feels that they need help, sure, call on any of us in our areas of interest. Yeah, and where we can contribute, we will surely, because I think the original objectives of our coming in has not changed.
As you pointed out, you don't have to step down, and yet you decided to step down. Can you tell us why you decided to do that?
Well, I think the members have spoken. So we want to respect members' comments and feedback.
Have you considered organizing a women's group, a different women's group that better reflects your values?
Is that necessary? Because I think Aware has got very noble objectives, and if the exco goes back to the roots, its original constitution of helping advancement of women in all levels, all fields, regardless of race, religion, beliefs, whatever, then I think that's good enough.
What makes you think they'll do that, though?
That's why I said I hope all the best in their endeavours.
So the suggestion is that they have strayed away from their original objective. Can you explain that?
Sorry?
Your implication from what you're saying is that the old exco had strayed away from the original objective of the organization. In what way? Can you explain?
I think I've said enough of that already in the press and the previous statements. I think I will not repeat all those things that I've said before. If you refer back to the press statements that we made, I think it's all there. Yeah.
By voting for the no confidence motion, it seems that the members are actually for the ideology of what the old exco believe in. Will you and your team maybe look at setting up a separate organization to champion your ideals and what you stand for?
Well, we must be given a chance to see what we want to do. First of all, you must remember all these exco members didn't know each other, except for a couple of them are more acquaintance. So it's not like a group of people had the same ideology and over coffee and tea talk about it and then say, let's go and hijack it and then do it. And if not, let's move on and hijack another or start another. That's not how it originated. So I think you must give us time.
Are you surprised at the vote, the overwhelming vote against for the motion?
Okay, first I'd like to put it categorically that when we first, at the AGM, were aware, there were only about 300 members. And since then, it has rose to about 3,000 members. When the letter first came, the requisition for EGM, of the 160 signatures, only 5 were people who attended the EGM. Yeah, and actually 120 signatures were new signatures. And so my point is, obviously a lot of people has joined AWARE since then. These are people who were not from the original AWARE, and they have since joined to form a larger group of AWARE. Now, whether this big group of AWARE, their beliefs, I think from today's discussion, you can see it is quite a reflection. What they have said is a reflection of their beliefs. Now, whether this group of people would represent AWARE in the future, I think that would be something that all people would be interested to see.
You know, this conflict reflected that within Singapore there are groups with differing values, differing visions about how certain things should be taught, which should be celebrated or appreciated. Do you feel that conservative, Christian, or however you'd like to call it, your own values, that those values are well represented within the PAP?
I think Singapore is largely, by and large, still a very conservative society. Okay, we are progressive. We have moved ahead in many areas. But I think when it comes to values, we are still a conservative society, by and large. I think by the very fact that the membership at AWARE had dropped significantly over the years, and to the lowest last year at 253, shows that it has only been serving a much smaller group of people rather than the society at large. So my feel is more could be done to reach out to women on the street, women in all walks of society. Currently, if you ask people, there was a poll that said that 70% of the people don't know what AWARE is all about. Why? It shouldn't be that way. It should reach out to a majority of the women in Singapore, and the women association where women know that they can go to when they have problems. But currently, the poll has showed that not many people even know what AWARE is all about. So that's my take on how, about Singapore as a society, how conservative, and whether it's represented in PAP.
Right.
I think by and large the Singapore government is also mainstream. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but they are quite conservative in nature. I think so. You want to add any?
Except that we can't speak for the PAP.
I can't speak for the PAP, but from what I see, it seems like it's, they take the concerns of the people in large,
right.
Majority, the views into consideration for policy making.
The reason I ask is because the PAP is so influential in Singapore society.
Yes.
That and they've always strived to sort of be everything to everyone, respect, and rather than have factions,
tolerance,
and different parties fighting each other that represent small groups. However, as this situation has shown, not all Singaporeans think alike or have the same values, and therefore, what I'm trying to get at is: do you feel that you have a voice within the PAP that they accurately represent you, or do you feel that that they're moving in a direction that you feel that you're not comfortable with?
I think
May I suggest? Are you asking as a personal?
If I may say,
individual.
In the case of AWARE, it's actually an association of women for action and research. It is an advocacy organization. Strictly speaking, a change in leadership should be an internal matter, confined very much to the association itself. Unfortunately, the matter has, at least in my view, seems to have been blown out of proportions, in the sense that religion has been dragged in, things like sexual orientation and so on has been dragged into the picture. And because this, especially religion, is a potentially divisive and polaristic issue, so because of that, I believe the government had to take a position, because if the situation continues unchecked, it may create some divisiveness, and it might affect the social fabric of Singapore.
What position did the government take?
Well, the government basically said that religion shouldn't come into the picture. This should be left to the members of AWARE to resolve internally according to their constitution. Yeah, so...
Can
yes.
we move on? I think we've all heard what the
Yeah,
government
correct.
has to say.
So-
We all can't speak for the government.
Yes, yes, that's right.
You said that going by the past AGM, how many people turned up, you didn't think that AWARE, or you thought AWARE had been serving a very smaller group of people, a small group of people. But going by today, and the people who spoke up, and the 1,400 who voted yes, you still think that way? It can't be, right?
I'd like to answer.
Well, I think
they
that
have a lot more following than we all thought initially. So what do you think happened?
I think one or two things. One was actually data given by Constance Singham herself at the AGM, and she said that only about 100 or so members are active, if I remember correctly, out of nearly 300 people.
200,
So,
yeah.
300 over at the time of the AGM. So it's like 100 over are really active and the rest are not.
Yeah,
but what's happening is that they brought back all the live, what they call the live members.
Yeah, I know, but you don't have to be, obviously you don't have to be active in an organization to believe in what they're doing.
I guess, can I say, I think the latest figure that we got for membership is over 3,000.
Yeah.
Today, only 2,000, about 100 people turn up. So there's one missing 1,000 odd people who stayed away. What is the reason for them for staying away?
Yeah, especially
2,000 turned up, Lois.
But,
3,000.
yeah, 3,000 odd members that we had. The original membership was only 300. There was a sharp jump in membership. So then we have to ask, what happened to the remaining 1,000 odd people who signed up? When they signed up, because of the ongoing publicity, people who signed up means that they want to attend. What made them stop?
And change them.
Working.
Today's a Saturday.
Well, we can't speak for the other one.
Yeah, we can't speak, but this is a question that we have to also ask.
And of course, we also stopped registration. Yeah. So there were still lots of people out there who couldn't come in. So we don't know.
Do you think the media, in particular the Straits Times, has fairly characterized your group and your views?
He already said no.
Can you let them speak?
Well, I work for the Straits Times.
Well, then be quiet. Let them speak.
Very objective.
You're objective.
Oh, right.
Well, then be quiet. Let them speak.
Okay.
Goodness.
I will not generalize Straits Times.
Let me be specific.
Yes, let's
I will not generalize ST. I think there are reporters who are fair. There are also reporters who are quite slanted. So that's all I would say. Sarah has been fair.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think. No, I think I feel that it's important to report. I think it's important to report fairly, with integrity and truth. So that's all I will say about.
Yes. Throw an idea about whether the media has been objective. I think most people believe that they have been.
No, they don't think that.
Sorry. I think what
Sorry
people
for
are more
you.
interested in is what you feel about some of the reactions you had today.
The reactions
Were
from.
you surprised, first of all?
No.
Because it was quite
I wasn't surprised.
heartfelt.
Huh?
When you expected it. You expected it?
Yeah, I mean, based on the past 1 month,
I don't think we expected it because there was a big jump in the membership. So it was really a question of where all these people are coming from, where do they stand for? Can I finish? Where they are coming from, who they are going to vote for. Eventually, it's going to be a numbers game, but we also knew that what the legal position is. So it was really our decision whether we want to step down or not.
Sorry, Sarah, I think I misunderstood your question. I thought you asked me the question, did I expect the
The kind of
verbal
Yes.
outpouring and all that. The heckling. I think that part we did because I think based off the past 1 month, we've seen how loud they have been on the blogs, on online media. I think we came expecting such behavior.
On hindsight, would you have done things differently?
No, I think we believe in what we did. And to address the question on whether Straits Times is considered fair reporting, I personally do not believe it was fair reporting.
I second that.
I'd like to add to the point. I mean, truthfully, I don't know. I don't know Sally. I don't know Lois. I don't know Maureen. Before the AGM, so I was surprised when I found out they happened to attend the same place as myself. So I was very surprised when this religion thing was played out, because in the AGM itself, none of us spoke about religious beliefs, and the homosexual thing only came in because we were asked by the old guard to state whether we are anti-gay or anti-lesbian.
But I think for past AGMs, nobody was ever asked to state their religion, to state whether they are pro-gays or whatever, because those were not reasons why a person should or should not be voted in
to a woman's
to the
organization.
exco. So for this last AGM, that those questions were asked, and statements were made that if you are not pro-gay, then you are not fit to be in this organization. So
that is discrimination.
Is that for a fact?
Yes.
oh, that was what was said. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
However, don't you think that the fact that you are all from the same church, or many of the new board members are from the same church, Christian church, it allowed you to be perceived as representing a narrow interest, and that if you had been had a Malay member, or maybe a Buddhist member, or that would have perhaps been a better strategy for representing a wider range of
Sure.
Singaporean
I understand what you're saying. Now, for the AGM election, we didn't know who was standing, whether there would be Malay, there would be Chinese, or Indian, or Buddhist, or Catholics, or Hindus. Nobody knew the outcome of the meeting that day. Okay, and when the truth was, like I said, Claire had lamented that she couldn't get enough people to support her in the running of the exco. So she asked for names of members who would be willing to support her in the election. And I separately on my own said, okay, I don't mind if that's what you're looking at in publicity, marketing, I can help. I don't know what went on between the rest. And then that day when it came, Claire proposed me and Dana Lam seconded me.
It was a free election. There were 20 people who stood for election. Among the 20 who stood for election, there were Indians. Was there any Malay?
No.
Oh, yes.
No,
And then there were it was all, not all the 20 people came from Church of Our Saviour or were Christians. There were atheists, there were Buddhists, and so on. And the AGM was attended by people who were interested enough to attend an AGM. And one of the items on the agenda was a proposed change in the Constitution. I would have thought, if you are a member of an organization that is tabling a motion to change the Constitution, you would be interested enough to attend and vote on such an important constitutional matter. But only 100 people turned up out of a membership of 350. And those people who turned up have the right to vote. And they voted out of the 20 people who stood for elections. We were voted. And so if you ask us whether we should have a rainbow connection and so on, it's really up to the members there to vote. And there were the minorities who stood for elections and they were not voted in.
And there were people who got as low as 8, below 10. And there were people who got as high as 82, and that was Lois based on her election speech. Right?
Yes.
She gave a speech about her involvement with social enterprising and all those things, and she got very high vote, and I got equally high vote, just one behind her, because on account that I said I can do marketing publicity, and I want to raise the awareness of aware. Because Dana Lam herself had made a comment at the AGM that the number of calls made to the hotline seemed very, very small for an organization, for a women's organization. So I said, yes, not many people on the streets know what AWARE is all about. And if I can come in and help you raise the awareness of AWARE, I can contribute in that area. And I also talk about fundraising. Okay? I talk about fundraising. And I heard after the election that somebody said, oh, they all garnered from me because fundraising is very important. So,
and right at the start of the meeting, Constance herself lamented that there's no interest in the organization and AWARE needs to attract new blood. Brahma Mati herself, at one of the earlier AGMs, which are 2007, 205, said that, we need to have more new blood coming in, and she even advocated that the new blood be put on the exco straight away. Yes. And now that we are in, we seem to be seeing a totally different story. So we are, quite at a loss as to the sudden change.
Do you intend to challenge the proceedings today at all legally?
I think the legal position is already made very clear. That there's a legal opinion given by Raja and Tan. So that actually is the position that we believe is the correct position. And that position is that we need not step down because constitutionally, election of the executive committee and office bearers are done at the annual general meeting. They are not the subject of an EGM. Therefore, notwithstanding the no confidence vote, we can choose to stay. Okay? But basically, we have considered, and of course, they expected us to make a decision in 5 minutes, but we had to take some time to really think through, and basically we came to the conclusion that, for the sake of AWARE, we will step down.
What are the things you have to consider? You said it's something that you can decide in 5 minutes. So what are some of the things you have to consider?
Well, we all had our own convictions to stand for elections. And we also have our supporters.
We all came on a specific platform. Each one of us, for me, was education. It was so clear. Education and training, where I can contribute. So even if the new exco now as the one that is going on, if they should invite me back to advise on education and training, I'll be more than happy to do that.
In the Treasury area, during my short time there, I believe that the corporate governance, there's room for improvement. And also the accounting system is quite a dated system. As to whether there's any upgrades and so on, I have my doubts. But then again, they have decided that they don't require our expertise. So, and we don't want to polarize or to really, split AWARE further. So we decided to graciously step down.
I just want to add, because I don't know if this was addressed earlier on. One issue that was raised earlier on was that they felt, the new school was inexperienced and did not understand civil society well enough. What are your thoughts on that? The idea of the corporate mindset versus the civil society?
It's not entirely true that the exco has got no community service. Maureen has served in the community before.
Yeah, so I've been 6 years.
I've done a lot.
6 years president of the Singapore Training Association.
I was part of AWARE before in the early 1990s with the Sexual Harassment Committee. So I'm not sure if their claims are accurate.
Yeah, and I've spent 2 years doing counselling and support for women in prison aftercare. So I've definitely been involved in volunteer groups.
Like for myself, yes, I said that it's my first foray into community work, but I did not come in with the assumption that I'm going to be president, right? I came in to help in the areas that I feel I can contribute easily and comfortably, which is marketing and publicity. So I don't see how we're not equipped to run an exco. And of course, when we first came in, we were not going to assume the leadership position. It was supposed to be chaired by Claire Narzar as the president. So, under the circumstances, situation, that's where we are today.
One of my personal thoughts after this event is that AWARE is recognized as the women advocacy group in Singapore. As to whether, based on today's meeting, whether the AWARE's membership is an accurate representation of women in Singapore. That is something which I think I have certain thoughts about. I need to think through that. So that's something which.
To the men who were there?
No, what I meant is if we look at the meeting, the people who turned out, and what was expressed, would the general opinion be reflected of women in Singapore in general? It calls to question the point that AWARE does provide feedback to the United Nations through the CEDAW vehicle to push for women's interests, women's rights. So AWARE is a very strong vehicle. Now, if I look at the meeting today, one thing which I would personally wonder about is, would the opinions be reflected in today's meeting? Is it reflected of the broad spectrum of women across Singapore society? I mean, Singapore has, if we assume that we have 2 million women, does the 3,000 members today in AWARE represent the views of the 2 million women?
Does it?
Well, in my personal opinion, if we base it on today's expression of thoughts, it may not be.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. Thank you. This is all spent in carrying out the duties of the exco in organizing an EGM. And I don't think we've done, I'm sure we're very above board in those expenditures, given the circumstances surrounding the event in the last few days. I think we had to spend what was spent.
Okay. Would you stand for election in the exco again?
Like I said earlier, give me some time to reflect on this. Yeah, thank you.